We're on Tennessee. It's a really difficult prep week, probably the hardest one of the year in terms of trying to replicate what they do. They do a tremendous job stressing you in all phases. They've always been good with Josh in terms of offensively, but I think what they've been able to do defensively this year to me is really impressive. They play really good defense, really good offense. The tempo is hard to match. And then their special teams, that's the phase nobody talks about. These guys are really elite on the special teams. You can tell they put a lot of time and effort into it. So it's a huge challenge. When you go on the road in the SEC, I say it all the time, doesn't matter who, where, when, doesn't matter anything about anybody's record. Only it matters is you're playing on the road in the SEC in a really tough environment, and the prep for that is kind of the challenge that our team has to embrace. You have to embrace it's different when you go on the road in our league, especially when you go to play a team as talented as Tennessee is. So with that, I'll open it up.
Yeah, Coach, they've been able to run the football exceptionally well under Josh Heupel. I'm curious, what's the key to being able to stop the run with light boxes, because they're going to do a good job of spreading you out as well?
Yeah, you can't stop it with light boxes. They make it where you can't. You got to be able to strike a man, get off a block, and football is so simple when it comes down to your ability to play block protection or block people. Like you either get blocked or you don't get blocked, and you got to win a whole bunch of one-on-ones if you don't have enough people in there, because they expose you quickly, and they're very physically tough. Their O-line plays that way. Their backs are easily the best stable of backs we've seen this year in terms of the backs, the package of backs they have. And that includes the quarterback with the backs. So it's a really tough prep. They do a great job. The box count is what it is. They know what you got. They know what you don't got. So it boils down to who can strike a block and get off a block.
Kirby, you mentioned the offensive line the other night. Just one, how have you seen that group get better throughout the year? And two, like you mentioned the other night, how much of improvement is just depth, being able to rotate guys in and keep guys fresh?
Yeah, our O-line's gotten better with the year. I mean, we've had games we play better than others, but sometimes that has to do with the opponent you play. We're healthier, so with health comes depth and the ability to play more guys. I think we stayed fresher in terms of the guys we rolled in and played, and there was a unity among that group of we can achieve together, and it's not really about us getting the credit, it's more about the backs getting the credit. But a lot of offensive line play is usually dictated by who you're playing against and how you play, and those kind of things.
Kirby, what is the latest on Julian?
Hopefully gonna, I don't know how long it's going to be. He's got a dinged up injury. It's an upper body injury that hopefully we're able to get him back from, but don't know how long it's going to be. I mean, there's a chance, you never know, but he's dinged up. So I'm hoping we can get him back as soon as possible.
Kirby, they have a veteran defensive line. Is it just the experience you've seen them take that next step, or are they just doing something different defensively to have that sack total where they are in the nation?
No, they got good players. They play really hard. They strike at the point of attack. They're aggressive. They're hard to move because they're big. And then they have, elite pass rushers. I mean, when you got an elite pass rusher, that you got people that can push the pocket, it creates sacks and things. So they are very good defensively and a really big challenge, especially when you talk about the front. There's the rush, but then there's the controlling the line of scrimmage for your ability to run the ball, and they're good at both.
Yeah, I know you touched on him a little bit on Saturday night, but having a chance to review the film. What did you make of C.J. Allen and how he's handled the moment on Saturday?
Exactly like I expected C.J. Allen to do. He's already played this year. He's played, I think, almost every game. He smart, intelligent, instinctive, athletic, great kid. So he did what he's supposed to do, and he can play better, and he'll get even better this week.
I think I saw Brock played 40-something snaps Saturday night.
Just curious going forward, I assume there's room for improvement in terms of his health, or is that 100% right there? Do you feel like he can still get stronger in terms of recovering from the injury? And were you surprised just to see that he was able to go that much?
No, he didn't play every snap of every game anyway, so I don't know. I mean, you have to look and see his snaps in the other games. I don't know. I'm sure he had more snaps in other games, but he's in good shape. He's conditioned. I don't know that he's 100%, but he's healthy and safe enough to play, and we're going to allow him to play as long as he wants to. And he wanted to go out there and compete and play, and I don't think it's a matter of how many snaps he can take. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, Coach, obviously having Kendall and Dejon healthy, you know, at the same time is beneficial, but can you speak to the difficulties that's provided the defense when they have such distinct running styles? They run so differently.
Yeah, I don't know that I can answer that one. We play backs, you know, that have different running styles. I think both those guys are really good backs. You know, one's bigger and one's a little bit smaller. They both have good vision. They both have great toughness, but I can't speak to how the defensive guys prepare to it.
To follow up on y'all's run game, you know, obviously beat up for a good part of this year, but where do you feel like your run game is right now with Dejon and Kendall, but also we got to see Andrew Paul, Roger Robinson, just the state of y'all's run game right now?
It's all relative. You know, you got to see Andrew and Rod because the game was more in hand. They got an opportunity to go out and show what they've done. We've had some games in the last that hasn't happened. It's relative to how the defense plays us, you know, and these guys are really tough to run the ball on, so we're going to have to find ways.
Coach, I know we kind of talked on it on Saturday, but a ton of people were honored, from Jeff Wallace to Mark Richt. What was that moment like for you to see so many people be honored on the field, from seniors to so many legendary coaches and beyond? Yeah,
I'd be honest with you, I didn't see much of it. I mean, the only one I noticed of everybody was Coach Richt at one time, but in the middle of the game, I'm thinking about what we could do to stop Ole Miss and what we could do to score points. I'm not enjoying the moment like you guys are.
I think maybe we're getting a chance to talk to Mike Hill here a little bit. What have you seen out of him this year and how he's developed and grown as a contributor for you guys? Obviously, knowing what he did last year for you guys as a freshman.
Yeah, he's been a really good leader for us. You know, he didn't get to show the improvement he would like to in the spring because he didn't get to go through all the spring. So he came into camp coming off a summer injury, and he didn't get to practice as much in fall camp in spring. So I was really pleased when he came back how much he asserted himself into getting in shape, conditioning shape. I actually think he's just now starting to play his best football. The last 2 to 3 weeks, he's been able to take shoulder a little more burden of the snaps and moving quick, playing with speed. He's a really good leader. He understands our defense, and he really studies offenses really hard to know their tendencies. And he's been a great addition for us and played even better this year than last.
What have you thought of the job that Dylan Fairchild has done this season, you know, the amount of work he's gotten in and how he's played?
Yeah, he's gotten better. I mean, he's a guy that grew up, played a year on the scout team, worked as a 2 most of the year, and he got to play in a lot of games last year where the margin was great enough late to get in, and it's like your ability to do that brings your team along faster. So all that time last year made him better this year, and he's played well this year with the injuries we've had. He got to jump in and play, and you know, he and Micah have done a really good job of sharing that spot, and really pleased with the way Dylan's playing.
Coach, obviously this year had the sack on Saturday and then the interception the week before, not to mention being honored on Senior Day. What have you seen from his development and how much he means to this team?
He's worked really hard. We've challenged him early in the season. Didn't know if he was playing as well as he was the year before when maybe he was hungrier. It was his first time starting and doing those things, and he's answered the bell here lately. He's really focused on his conditioning level, and he's come in and run extra. He knows the weeks we've got last week and the next weeks ahead. The tempo is a factor. So I love the fact he's embraced in getting in the best shape of his life so he can play his best football towards the end of the year.
Coach, I'm sure you've had a chance to review it, but just what did you think about how C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson played in their kind of first? I know they played a lot, but they were leaned upon for the first time this week.
Yeah, we talked about C.J. already, but thought Raylan played well. He had, I don't know what snaps were, but he had some plays that we wish he could get over, but he also has some really good keys. He's a physical kid. He's a great blitzer. He's going to be a really good football player the more he plays. So I think that game at least gives them some confidence, and it almost, because Ole Miss doesn't go the same pace as Tennessee, it gives them a good, hey, this is a window into what this is like, but now this is going to be twice as fast, and they're really good at running it. Now Ole Miss had really good backs. Tennessee's got really good backs. So there's some carryover there in terms of alignment assignment, but not necessarily the pace.
Coach, many times you've talked about the importance of being in the present moment. What are some of the biggest challenges as a coaching staff getting a bunch of 18 to 23-year-old guys to not focus on past success and future expectations, but on what's important now?
It's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge we accept. I mean, it's part of the passion you have for the job is to reinvent yourself every week and not succumb to the stuff that's out there. And it's something we take a lot of pride in, and our players believe in what we tell them. That's the number one thing. You gotta have the trust of the players, or your messaging doesn't work. The messaging is that we're trying to find the best version of ourselves, and every week we're trying to find the best version of ourselves, and that doesn't change based on who we play.
Kirby, you talked about how tough it is to play on the road in the SEC. What's the key to your guys' success on the road, and particularly the games you've had at New Orleans?
You got to find ways to run the ball. You can't sit there and think you're going to be able to just throw it every down and win a game. You got to win the line of scrimmage. The keys to winning on the road are the same as keys to winning at home. It's just more difficult. I mean, it doesn't change. The game doesn't change. You got to be able to take a punch. You got to be able to take momentum changes. But the people in the stands aren't playing in the game. So the outside elements of all the undisciplined penalties and all those things, we try really hard to avoid those when we go on the road, because they're self-inflicted wounds sometimes. But that's the challenge. The challenge is win the line of scrimmage, win the turnover battle, win the explosive battle, and you do that by blocking and tackling people.
What's the latest on Demonte Johnson? And secondly, what difference have you seen in Carson from week 1 to week 10? When you go back and watch the film and stuff, what that we don't see, what do you see different in him from when he started to where he is now?
Not a lot of difference. I mean, I thought the kid started well, and he's playing good football now. He's playing good football then. He's just got more experience and more confidence. But I don't know that that's anything different than you would see, because I think he's got good experience and good confidence. In terms of Pop, again, week to week, trying to get him back.
Yeah, I saw that Dolly Parton was going to be attending this game. One, are you aware of who Dolly Parton is? And two, when you have so many extracurriculars around this game, especially with what happened last year, how do you go about as a coach sort of blocking that out and getting your team to just focus on being, as you said, the best version of yourself?
Do know who Dolly Parton is. I got parents that watched the Grand Ole Opry. Was not aware she was going to attend the game. Don't understand the second part of your question of what does this year's game have to do with last year's game?
Just in terms of, with all the extra attention that might be on this game, 3:30 CBS game, and with, how that game went last year, how do you go about just focusing on you guys?
We focus on us every week. It has nothing to do with last year's game. And every time we play Tennessee, it'd probably be 3:30 CBS or 7 o'clock ESPN. I mean, it's a big game every year we play Tennessee because it's a big game. They're a good program and we're a good program, and the two are going to match up. So as far as our focus on it, our players respect the hell out of Tennessee. They know how hard it is to play them. We had to play them up there 2 years ago, and it's tough. It's a tough prep. So we'll be focused.
Coach, I wanted to ask about Squirrel White, and that's a guy that I feel like maybe has a few shades of a guy like Jalen Hyatt that you guys had to prepare for last year. What does he do really well, and what is your defense doing to prepare to face a guy like that?
it takes great prep to prep for all their wideouts. And the thing that makes it hard about their wideouts is their run game. So the run game is just incredible what they're able to do, and then off of that comes the pass game. So he's a great player. We recruited him. He's really fast. He's dynamic. He's gotten better with his age, and he's played a major role for them in terms of run after catch and vertical speed.
What stands out to you about Joe Milton?
Elite arm talent, really good athlete. You sometimes at DB you're looking for recovery, so I can close and get a ball out because maybe the ball's not there, but the ball gets there 0.5 seconds faster. In the game of football, 0.5 seconds is an eternity. It's 2-3 steps, and he's elite at doing that. They create run game with him, so they get an extra hat in the run game, which we'll see, and they're good at doing it.
Obviously, Leonard Whitehead hasn't seen the field much this year, but he came back to Athens from Tennessee. Just what was it like bringing him back, and how's he doing?
He's doing great. He's been Scout Team Player of the Week a couple times in terms of the Scout Special Teams units. He plays on. He's very intelligent. He gives us a great look and a great picture in terms of effort, and really proud of what he's been able to do.
Kirby, I wanted to ask you about Dalen Everett, and especially with Julian banged up. It seems like last couple of games he's had some opportunities to make plays on the ball, hasn't made those. And for those of us that don't know exactly what his responsibilities are at the time, could you kind of assess how he's played and how he's handled those maybe some plays he's given up?
Dalen's very confident. He plays against really good wideouts every day in practice. We do one-on-ones, we do reps every day. I got a lot of confidence in Dalen to be able to make plays on the ball, and he's made plays on the ball. He made an incredible play against Auburn, and those are plays that sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't. They're 50-50 balls. We want to win more than we lose. There's a lot that he has won and some that he's lost, but doesn't mean a lot of it has to do with how your other corner's playing too. And we got another corner that's playing well, playing good. So I'm really proud of where Dalen is. He's a really good tackler, and he's physical. He's heavy-handed. He's intelligent. He understands things. So he's a guy that is going to keep getting better with playing time.
Let's take two more questions. Kirby, is the Aussie style of punting, is that particularly challenging not only for the returner but for the fakes?
Well, it's for everything. Yeah, it doesn't. It's the hang time, the fakes, the op time. The punter is really elite at what he does because very few people can rugby both directions, and he's got an ability to kick left-footed, right-footed, go both ways. It just makes you have to defend more grass, and they do a really good job of that.
Kind of follow up on Jay's question about the other cornerback, kind of about Nyland and A.J. Harris, kind of how are they looking right now?
Both those guys do a good job. Daniel Harris, A.J. Harris, Chris Peel has done a good job. Nyland's done a good job. Those guys all continue to get work. We get really good quality work with them each and every day against our guys and against the opponent work.
Thank you.